Gorgeous Monday afternoon. Live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. Did you know that every single one of the clients on the roster of VMV Brands, our advertising agency, every single client but one had their best year in company history in 2020? Literally, every single client but one had their best year in company history in 2020. Today, we're going to welcome two of them on the show, and Keith Smith and Pattie Zeller. You know, Pattie Zeller at Animal Connection is hiring. She's expanding her business. She's considering a second location, and she's itching to hire two people and expand her staff. She's doing that during COVID. We're going to catch up with one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County in Central Virginia, and Pattie Zeller of Animal Connection today on the program. A lot to cover on the show. We'll let you know who's going to be running for city council. We'll be the first to let you know about that on today's show. Stocks are on fire, man. I mean, stocks and equities are absolutely on fire. NIO, the electric vehicle company from Shanghai, we have a stake in that business. NIO's up close to 10%. Plug Power, we told you about Plug Power last week. Look at what Plug's doing. We'll take a look at the stock and equities markets that are absolutely spewing money right now for investors. A lot we're going to cover on today's program. The University of Virginia men's basketball team racks up another victory, and now they have Notre Dame on the docket for Wednesday. Don't be super, let's wait till UVA plays some people. The three ACC wins UVA has are against the bottom three teams. The bottom three teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So time will tell. We'll talk about that on the show. We'll talk maybe Mike Murphy and the rumors swirling around Mike Murphy and city manager. I'm going to ask, is Dr. Richardson coming back? I'll let you know who's running for city council in the next campaign cycle. A lot to cover on the program. Judah, you ready to rock and roll?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Go ahead on the set.
Good Monday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. There's only one business connecting with you this way through this platform, and it's folks, I Love CVille and VMV Brands. Thank you kindly for joining us. A lot to cover on today's program, including Albemarle County students in school right now, at least some of them, while City of Charlottesville students are learning virtually in the coat closet, in the half bathroom, on the kitchen table. We'll talk about that in a matter of moments. Who's going to be the new city manager? There's a small portion of this community that is chopping at the bit to get Dr. Taron Richardson back in the fold. We'll ask this question: is Richardson coming back? Is Mike Murphy an interim solution? Or is Johnny Blair going to stay in the city manager spot for an extended period of time? We have a city council announcement to make for you. First, to get this news out to you, we'll let you know who's going to be in the next campaign cycle with two spots up for council. Social media is muffling Donald Trump left and right. Every platform in America, it seems like, is putting the duct tape across the president's mouth and not allowing him to enjoy some freedom of speech. I will offer you my perspective on the muffling of Donald Trump and what that could mean for America, folks. We have a Richmond food truck owner who's in very hot water. Not only was this a Richmond food truck owner, a Richmond, Virginia food truck owner, but he was the president of the Richmond Food Truck Association. Over the weekend, he had to resign. He is in hot water. I'm talking the hottest of hot, because this dude was at the entrance to the Capitol midweek this past week as we were watching in horror as people were storming the Capitol. One of the people was a food truck owner from Richmond, and now his business is in tremendous jeopardy. The MMA Institute of Charlottesville, it's off Greenbrier Drive. It's now for rent. We'll take a look at a massive, massive building off of Greenbrier Drive and off of 29 that's for rent. It can be a lot of things. The MMA Institute of Charlottesville, Dave Morris's business, fantastic operation. Dave is an A-plus dude. That building now available for rent. We'll let you know as well what $75 million will get you in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. $75 million. You heard me correctly. We'll let you know what that'll get you in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. And folks, on Thursday of this week, this network, we are booming. We are launching a brand new talk show on Thursday at 10:15 in the morning. It's a show that's focused on the Hispanic community in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Alex Erpy, his father and his family from their family business, Emergent Financial Services, will be here connecting with you, the Hispanic community, and in Central Virginia through the I Love CVille Network as we give a voice, as we empower, as we champion, and as we pedestal the Hispanic community in Central Virginia, a community that does not have a media outlet that offers it positive attention. On Thursday, right here at I Love CVille, it most certainly will. It most certainly will. I'm very proud to be a part of this deal that we're brokering, and it comes to fruition on Thursday morning. The lead of the show is going to be a school one, and I'm going to hop around quickly. I want you, the viewer, to offer your thoughts and your perspective on the feed. I see your comments coming in here. I see them coming in on Instagram. I'm getting them via text. Put them in via Facebook, via YouTube, via LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat. I will read them on air. Here's something that I want to relay to you to start the show. Some Albemarle County elementary students are learning in person in a classroom right now. However, all of Charlottesville City schools are at home learning virtually in the co-closet, the half bathroom, the master bedroom, the extra spare bedroom, whatever it may be. It's so interesting to me, and this is what I find interesting. Very few of us in this community can say, here's the city line, here's the Albemarle County line. We know that line exists, the Albemarle County line and the Charlottesville City line, the dividing line between the two municipalities. But we don't know exactly where it is. You know what's intriguing? Students that are the same age, some living in the county of Albemarle, are learning in a classroom right now. Students in the same age, just because they live in the city of Charlottesville, are learning at home right now through a computer screen. This invisible line of where you live is literally determining whether you learn in a classroom or you learn at home in the coat closet. None of us know where that invisible line is. None of us. Somewhere around Barracks Road, somewhere down South Street, 5th Street Extended by the Wagmans, the line's right there. None of us know exactly where it is. But that line is determining how some students are learning. Think about it. Think about it. I'm going to put that to the side for now, and I want to talk city manager. The whole situation is an absolute mess. It's like a hot mess, an absolute fiasco, okay? You had 5 city councilors. Let's associate it with dating, with going on a date. Okay? 5 city councilors are this past year, about 17 months ago, they basically hired a search firm. And that search firm is like Bumble or Tinder or a dating app. These 5 city councilors, they need to get a match. And the match that they need to make is a new city manager. So the 5 city councilors are like, I don't have the confidence to go talk to Sarah. She's beautiful at the bar, so maybe I'll get on Bumble and maybe she'll swipe right. I'm not sure if Timmy over at the gym will talk to me, so I'm not sure I can talk to Timmy. Let's get on Tinder. Let's get on Bumble, okay? That's what the 5 city councilors did 17 months ago. They hired a search firm, and the search firm acted as the dating app. And the search firm found a match, a potential match. And that potential match was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Richardson from Texas. And the dating company said, gentlemen from Texas, we have a match for you here with these 5 people, and we think it could be a good fit. And here's where we are. Unfortunately, either the search firm, the match from Texas, or the 5 city councilors, it didn't work out with them. Now we're left with a fiasco. A portion of the community is chomping at the bit to get Dr. Richardson back in the fold as city manager, as the CEO of Charlottesville. I'm here to say this. While I respect your hustle, your chutzpah, your moxie, while I respect your passion, your stick-to-itiveness, there's not a chance in hell that a city council who basically fired a man, gave him close to $250,000 to leave, a huge freaking bag of money to get the hell out of Dodge, and in this case, Dodge is Charlottesville, Virginia. There's not a chance in hell the current city council will grovel and beg and come crawling back on their hands and knees to Dr. Richardson to take this job again. There's not a chance in hell that's going to happen. I know there's a petition circulating. I know that the folks that originated this petition have gotten some FaceTime on the news. I respect the efforts of Tanisha Hudson. She came on this program last week. Respect her hustle. Respect her moxie. I do. But it's important we're realistic, and the current city council is not going to welcome Richardson back. The rumor mill is swirling. And the speculation around City Hall certainly was blowing my phone up over the weekend with the folks that work there, is a number of backdoor overtures have been made by current council to one Mike Murphy. Mike Murphy was the interim city manager before Dr. Richardson was hired. Speculation in the rumor mill has council backdoor conversating with Mike Murphy for another round 2 interim role as city manager. We'll follow that closely on this program. And speaking of chitter chatter, the chatter is Charlottesville City School Board member Juan Diego Wade is going to make a push for one of 2 open spots on Charlottesville City Council. So we literally have a tale of 2 governments, one at the macro with the Trump regime and one at the micro with the Nikia Walker regime. And the similarities between the Donald Trump regime and the Nikia Walker regime in Charlottesville are significant. Significant similarities. What's happening to Trump right now? People are quitting left and right. They see it's a sinking ship. They're sprinting for the exit before they burn down. And when that ship burns down, it will burn down in flames of glory that will leave a legacy lasting impact on the Trump moniker and brand. You saw that the PGA pulled the PGA championship from Trump's golf course. Did you see that? Every social media platform in America is muzzling this man, I should say, muzzling this man. I want to offer some perspective on this. Frankly, I'm very nervous that someone's right to free speech is being violated like it is. That being said, the person whose free speech is being violated, you can make a legitimate argument, is inciting riots and leading people to try to take over the Capitol in D.C. with violence and aggression. So on one side, as a proud American, as someone who believes in the Constitution, someone who pounds his chest and says, I don't want the government in my business as a libertarian, I'm appalled that the president's free speech has been stripped from him by publicly traded companies that I personally am invested in. On the flip side of the coin, you have someone that has 70-some million voters. What do you have, 75 million voters, something like that? You have someone who has 3 times that many followers across the social media. And as someone who has a massive following myself in a tiny little market like Charlottesville, I very much understand the responsibility I have with a massive following like I Love CVille has in a tiny market like Charlottesville, and I understand how that massive following can be used for the good or for the bad. What we've seen from the president is using that influence potentially for the bad. So here we are in early 2021, and we're left with legitimately a conundrum. And it's not just a conundrum, it's a conundrum of epic proportions. Do you stand on the side of the fence that champions, supports the Constitution and free speech? Or do you stand on the side of the fence that still champions and supports the Constitution and free speech, but realizes an individual has taken free speech to a completely different level, and that different level is creating violence across America? It's a freaking conundrum, guys. And there is no right answer. There is no blanket statement that accurately reflects what's happening here. And yes, you should be fearful if someone's free speech is being stripped this easily and that person's the president. You should be fearful of your free speech as well, because you certainly don't have the influence, clout, or power that he does. So what is your take? What are your thoughts? It's messy, right? It's like, remember Sloppy Joe night? Sloppy Joes. I remember when my mom used to make my brother and I Sloppy Joes. She'd use a good little Martin's hamburger roll. She'd get that Sloppy Joe mix that came in the pack. She'd get the ground beef in the pot. She'd put the water in there and the Sloppy Joe mix, and she'd stir that mix up in that big silver pot on our stove, and she'd stir it. And the Sloppy Joe mix the smell was in the air. And 3rd grade Jerry and 2nd grade Jeffrey and 4th grade Jerry and 3rd grade Jeffrey, Jeffrey's my brother, we'd be excited. We'd get a plate with 2 Martin rolls, the bottom of the roll first, a scoop of Sloppy Joe on top, and then the top of the Martin roll, and my brother and I were happy. We'd eat these Sloppy Joes, smiling. Next thing we know, the Sloppy Joe is running down our face, running down our neck. It's sloppy, remember, down our shirt, on the table, and everywhere else. And Mom would say, "What a mess." And that's Sloppy Joe night. That's what we got with 45. That's what we got with 45. I hate to say this, at this point, the best thing we could have probably as a country is to have this era over and we move on. It's just entirely too polarizing. All right, a couple more things before we get to Pattie. Juan Diego Wade, I got that out of the notebook. City Council Juan Diego Wade. The guy's a school board member. He's a leader in this community. I would expect an announcement on the horizon. I think this is a guy that very well could win one of 2 spots on City Council with an election on the horizon November 3rd. Speaking of bad news and a mess, there's a president of the Richmond Food Truck Association. This guy made it all the way to the front doors of the Capitol. This gentleman's name is Bill Metzger. He's the owner of Curbside Creations. He attended the rally in Washington, D.C. this past Wednesday. The guy wrote on his Facebook page, while attending the rally in Washington, D.C., the owner of a food truck in Richmond, Curbside Creations, He wrote on his Facebook page, "What a day. I made it to the front doors of the Capitol. I took a few flashbangs, but I missed the pepper spray and rubber bullets," end quote. Immediately after writing that post on his Facebook page, the man realized he made one of the biggest mistakes of his life. The Facebook page got picked up by every news outlet in Richmond, Virginia. The Richmond Food Truck Association members demanded that he quit as president of the association, and now his business, Curbside Creations, in absolute jeopardy as Richmond Virginians refuse to support his business. We live in such precarious and uncertain and volatile times. Now, if you're the CEO of a nonprofit, the owner of a business, you are not really able to say truly what's on your mind. You can, but you risk tremendous ramifications if what you're saying is on your mind is not the popular opinion. Here's a guy who spent close to 2 decades of his life building this brand, and now because of a two-sentence post, his family business is about to erode and be taken away from him. Crazy times. Crazy times, this world we live in. I'm torn on this subject because I come on this show in front of a lot of people across every social media platform possible, and I openly speak what's on my mind every day. And what's on my mind every day, a lot of times, is not the popular opinion. Do you guys remember how much flack I got when I pointed out to you that there were 100+ slot machines inside Prime 109? Do you know why I did that? Because there were 100+ slot machines inside Prime 109, and it was you, the community, who had a right to know that. It wasn't the popular, the cool thing to do, but it was what we were supposed to do as a platform that has a large following. I'm torn because I come here and I speak my mind constantly, and I understand the value of a free speech world. The alternative is China, where you're told what to think, when to think, and how to think by the government. And as you slowly erode away freedom, even if it's just a little freedom, just a little bit turns into a little bit more, and a little bit more turns into a lot more than that. And then before you know that, it snowballs. That's why I'm torn. I said on Friday's program, I showed vulnerable emotion. I straight up cried with a guest on Friday, Aaron Tucker, about being humiliated as an American as folks invaded the Capitol. I was humiliated. Humiliated. But the alternative is stripping freedom of speech. It's scary. I'm curious of your thoughts. Put them in the feed. If you disagree with me, put them in the feed. I don't even have a right answer. I don't even think I gave you an answer. This is basically what we're left deciding upon. Okay? Here's the scales of justice in very simplistic form. The scales of justice. On one scale, you have an influential person who's angry about losing an election that's using his influence to potentially incite violence. But he's doing that through freedom of speech. Fact. On the other side, you have social platforms who are saying no to freedom of speech, but saying yes to stopping violence and the division in this country. That's the options you're left with. Crappy situation. Pattie Zeller in a minute. Keith Smith at 110, 112. I'll let you know what $75 million will get you in Charlottesville and around Central Virginia in about 20 minutes on the program. The MMA Institute off Greenbrier Drive is now for rent. We have pictures. We'll speculate what can go into that location. It is absolutely massive. Virginia faces Notre Dame on Wednesday. The Wahoos are a top 25 basketball team. They just haven't played very good competition yet. And we'll talk the best cheesesteaks in Charlottesville. Yes, you heard me correctly. The best cheesesteaks in Charlottesville, Virginia. I think you will be surprised to hear what I think are the best cheesesteaks in Charlottesville, Virginia. Judah, I'm reaching out to Pattie. We're doing this via phone call. Pattie Zeller's business is booming. Hey, what's up, Pattie? How are you?
Can you hear me all right?
I hear you perfectly. How's it going?
Hello?
How's it going, Pattie?
Hey, how are you doing, Jerry?
Good. What's going on at Animal Connection?
Oh, man, we are screaming busy. We're so busy that we need additional help. So I'm putting out a plea for some great people that need to maybe make a change in their life and try something different they've never tried before.
Ooh, who are you hiring?
Ooh. Hey, we're looking for a grooming assistant for Carol, first thing. This is a person that's going to be helping her washing and drying and preparing coat for our fantastic grooming experience. I do have something I just sent Judah to go on screen that's got a little bit more of a rundown. We train based on AKC's safe groomer methods and certifications, and there is an opportunity for someone to really grow and learn how to style, trim, clip, hand strip, and groom a variety of breeds. So, it would be an entry-level position, but there is potential for someone to learn how to be a real dog groomer, which is great.
That is great.
The other job is retail sales associates, and that's working with Mark and me. And this is super for someone that can really multitask, likes people, likes dogs, likes to think on their feet. We will teach them everything they need to know about holistic pet nutrition and care, and expose them to our methods of grooming and dog training. And they'd be doing anything from working with customers, stocking, ordering, scheduling, supporting our dog training associates. It's one of these things that it's going to be lively every day. You never know what you're going to do, but, we do give a really good basis of education so you can feel comfortable and confident that you can handle our customers with great ease and care. We're looking for people that can be flexible, innovative, considerate, supportive, and we're a multi-award winning store, national multi-award winning store, and we are just known for just the best customer experience you can find anywhere. And so this is the kinds of people that we're looking for. But there may be people out of work that are not in an essential business that might be wanting to consider doing something new and different. And, heck, step out of your comfort zone and give something new a try.
Let me throw this to you here. Pattie Boden, our guest. Pattie Zeller, our guest, guys. Pattie Zeller, the owner of Animal Connection in X Park. Her business is obviously booming. She's got two positions she's hiring for, a grooming assistant and a retail sales associate. Pattie, here's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
How did you get your business humming during COVID-19?
Well, I can't tell you how many 14-hour days we've put in, but it's been a real experience during COVID. I mean, we have tried every marketing trick in the book that I know of, and then some. I mean, I even took additional retail classes so I could stay ahead of the game. We did curbside. We do free same-day delivery. We changed hours. I mean, we did things like delivering your products to your car dressed in bunny suits and making nachos for dogs in a drive-through dog bar. We're creative over here, and that's what we feel like we need to do to be the best pet store in Virginia, and we're going to continue to do that. So we just need more people to help us do that.
I love it, Pattie. I wish you the best. Two spots she has up for grabs, Charlottesville. So here's what I want you to do. If you know someone who's looking for a job, And if you're looking for someone who's looking for a career, this lady, Pattie Zeller, is an incredible resource. She's hiring 2 positions for her booming and growing brand that may additionally add other locations. Okay? So responsibility on the horizon. Pattie, you're making moves, Pattie Zeller.
We are, and listen, we really appreciate you guys getting the word out, and just put the word out to anybody that you know, because you never know who might say, hey, this sounds interesting. I like dogs. Sounds like something I might to try. We give working interviews, so the best thing to do is to email your resume and tell us why you think you would be interested in something like this. And then we're going to schedule working interviews so you can come and just hang out with us for a couple of hours or half of a day and see if you think it's right for you. We've been doing this. This is now starting our 20th year, so hopefully we're doing something right. And, we'd love to have some fresh faces over here. And just to be clear, nobody is leaving. I've already had somebody ask, oh my gosh, is anybody leaving? No, nobody is leaving. We just need more help.
I wish you the best. I am not surprised you're having success with how hard you work, Pattie Zeller. Her entire team grinds. Animal Connection at X Park. Pattie, we will get the word out about these 2 openings.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that for me, Jerry.
Our pleasure, Pattie.
Right.
We'll see you Wednesday.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Let's get some comments in the mix. Keith Smith is coming up in about 8 minutes on the program. The perspective on Trump has got a lot of folks, as it always does, offering their thoughts. So my phone's blowing up here. A couple things I want to throw to you, okay? For me to further explain the influence that Trump has, consider Twitter stock. So Twitter, remember, put the shackles on Trump. Okay? Twitter's not allowing Trump to tweet. I'm just going to use Twitter. Twitter stock is down 5% plus today. Trump is one of the most influential social media users in the world. Not only do people on both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrat, log into social media to read or hear what he has to say, but there's an entire ecosystem of talking heads, an entire ecosystem of writers and broadcasters and analysts who then respond to his tweets on Twitter, creating a firestorm of daily active user activity. So by Twitter putting the shackles on Trump, they took off their platform arguably the most influential account from a driving metrics, engagement, and daily active use standpoint. As a result, Twitter, a company I own stock in, is down now 5.21% on the first day of trading since putting those muzzles in place for the president. Now, Neil Williamson has a comment. Neil, I love when you watch the show. Neil, when you watch the show, your comments make us smarter. This is Neil Williamson's comment. Neil Williamson quotes the great Benjamin Franklin. And Benjamin Franklin said this. Neil just put the comment in the feed, Free Enterprise Forum. Quote, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Benjamin Franklin. He continues, "The basis of a democratic state is liberty." That's from Aristotle. It's the same argument folks that are pro-guns make. And the argument folks that are pro-guns, like I'm talking automatic and semi-automatic guns. And the argument that folks are pro-semi-automatic and automatic guns, they say, if you take away my semi-automatic gun, what's going to keep you from taking away my 9mm? If you take away my right or the president's right to speak his mind, what's going to take away Twitter, the social media platforms, taking away our rights to voice our opinion. The flip side of the argument, though, and why there's no right answer, the flip side of the argument is utilizing the influence to stoke violent actions. And the collateral damage of creating violent actions by using your influence is the humiliation of the country across the world. And that's what happened. The phone is blowing up. The phone is, all right. I mean, I'm curious of your take. You disagree with me? You disagree. Kelly Lewis, she says facts. Facts, facts. Kelly, we love when you watch the show. I'll talk to Keith Smith about it. See what Keith has to say. I'm going to reach out to Keith Smith now, Judah. $75 million. We'll let you know what $75 million will get you in Virginia here in a matter of moments. We also have Virginia and Notre Dame to cover. We'll let you know about the MMA Institute of Charlottesville that's now for rent. And we'll talk best cheesesteaks in Charlottesville. Keith Smith is on the line, Judah Wickhauer. Keith, you got a lot of folks listening to you here. What do you make on the topic we're covering right now? The show is yours, Keith Smith.
Well, you know I come from a very unique place on this subject. I lived in the Soviet Union the first half of the 80s. And, you know, while I had shivers up my back, you know, the fact that we can't, I mean, man, what, this is just a hard subject to talk about, and I, man, my hat's off to you for tackling this the way you are. You know, I've been involved and lived in countries where you couldn't speak your mind or you were shot if you spoke your mind. You know, what was done was wrong, but to take away, where does it stop?
That's what I'm saying. Where does it stop? Do you worry about that?
I think I'm worrying it about so much I don't know how to talk about it. And you know me better than anybody. I like to talk. So it's a horrible thing. And I'm there's a story that you know personally about this that I would not want to talk about on air that involved the loss of life because they were trying to speak their mind. And where does that stop? I'm flabbergasted. I don't know what to say.
Let me throw this to you here. Let me throw this to you. People look up to you in this community. You're a leader in this community. You're a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. You taught me that. This man is a Marine. Out of high school, he joined the Marines. This guy is as good as you're going to get. Keith, what was going through your mind when you saw people invading the Capitol?
So what I done in the Marine Corps, for lack of a better term, is one can think about what the folks were killed in Benghazi. So I was the guy guarding the embassy in foreign countries where people were coming over the wall like that. And I thought I was back in Beirut in the early 1980s. I thought I was in San Salvador in the mid-80s. I thought I was in the communist bloc countries that I defended in the first half of the 80s. It scared the living shit out of me. That being said, what scares me even more is that somebody now can take away your livelihood, Mr. Miller. What if people don't like what you're saying and then all of a sudden you cannot do this program? Well, all of a sudden they don't like what I say on Real Talk and they can take down that show. It is an extremely dangerous and slippery slope, and unless you live in a world that the government has that kind of authority and power, you can't understand it. And I don't know how to say it other than that.
You said it perfectly, my friend. Keith Smith, yes, Team Realtors, this guy's a class act. You said it absolutely perfectly. So let me ask you this question. Where do we go from here, Keith? What do we do from here?
You know what you do? You get on your knees and pray to whatever you pray to, that this will work itself out, that we don't go down to this dangerous slope and it was atrocious, it was wrong, it was horrifying, But I got to tell you, if you were to take off every stupid person that says something stupid on the internet, it'd be shut down. So it's just, I just think everybody needs to take a breath. Pray for the ones who lost their lives. Pray for this country that we don't go down this slippery slope. We pray that, smart people. And, I just finished up a meeting with, as you know, we're trying to wrap up this land trust Fremont housing merger. And I just finished a meeting just before I came here. This is why I'm talking to you on the phone today. We had a difference of opinion. But guess what? We talked it through, and we're going to make a deal. And we're going to move forward, and we're going to have a cup of coffee. And we just did. That's where we need to get back to as a country. On Friday, we're going to talk about broadband inequities. Right? We got people, national level people who wrote articles on that, going to come in and talk to us about that. That's the conversation we need to be having, not this one.
Well said. Friday, I believe you have Jesse Rutherford, right?
I got Jesse Rutherford coming in. I've got two national authors who wrote a book about broadband inequities out in the rural area, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, how to get in. And tomorrow is going to be a great day. It's going to be different than this conversation. We're going to talk about the formal release of our partnership, our little brokerage that we're doing, and tackle the 7 rules of life for Yona and I. So maybe the 7 rules of life would be a great follow-up to this show tomorrow.
Yes, Realty Partners, guys. Yes, Realty Partners. Get ready for that. Keith and Yona. Yona's going to be what? The associate broker. I mean, this is just going to be a fantastic firm that's really going to serve the community well. Yes, Realty Partners. Remember the brand and the name. Yes, Realty Partners. Keith, let me throw this to you. This year, 2021, we're 2 weeks in. How's the 2 weeks shaken out from a real estate standpoint so far?
So I don't like to brag, right? I don't like to beat my own chest, but we've probably done about $1.5 million worth of business in the last 3 days.
That's amazing. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so it was between buys and sells, between listings and selling, and we helping folks buy and sell, and it's just, you've got to have a trusted advisor. You've got to be a pro in that, and one of them in particular, we went up against 8 offers.
Get out.
I can't go into details, obviously, because it just got ratified. But through skills that we have and the ability to get our clients to trust us in our recommendations, we prevailed out of that many. And this was an upper level, mid to upper level home, right? In the mid, let's call it around 500,000.
So Keith, the reason you're emphasizing this is because you're basically saying they were 8 offers, and this was not an entry point or starter home.
That's exactly right. So those multiple, and then we had the same with a listing, which we were fortunate enough to be on the opposite side of that we had multiple offers on the other listings, and we helped guide our client through the process of what was the best offer for them on that end of it. So, we talk about it on the show all the time. Zillow and Trulier and Realtor apps, and all these apps are great apps, but you need skilled folks to get through that.
Well, you and Yona embody those qualities. Real Talk tomorrow, we're talking about the 7 ways you and Yona go about life and business, right?
Basically how we went from losing everything we had 10 years ago to where we are today. These are our 7 rules, and we've always been our 7 rules, and particularly since this conversation this unpleasant conversation, which I frankly really don't want to talk about, because I believe in our country enough that we will get through this. We will get to the other side a better, stronger place. I hope so. I hope I didn't lose friends and end up going back to what I was fighting against. But that being said, we're going to talk about the 7 rules, and we're going to take it at a high level, my friend.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Tomorrow, 10:15 a.m., Real Talk on Facebook and Instagram with this guy, a guy I'm proud to call my friend. His name is Keith Smith of the Yes Team Realtors and of Yes Realty Partners.
Thank you for not saying it was my birthday.
Hey, well, I was just going to say that. Keith, today's your birthday, right?
It is. I couldn't think of a better way of doing it with chatting with you and your viewers and your listeners.
Keith Smith's birthday today. If you see Keith Smith around town, wish him a happy birthday. Keith, any plans? Besides the spankings from Yona, any other plans?
Oh boy, you had to open up that can of worms. I'm going to behave on that end of it. Let's say it this way: if you see Keith Smith floating around a bed and you want to wish him a happy birthday, you better have a martini in your hand.
There you go. I wish you the best, my friend. We will talk to you later today, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
All right, brother. Be well.
Happy birthday, Keith.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you, Keith. When you see Keith Smith, wish him a happy birthday. Judah, did you hear that? $1.5 million in sales from Keith and Yona over the last weekend. Not bad, guys. Congratulations. Comments. Put the comments in the feed. Put the comments in the feed. Look, I mean, he's right. Like, one of the things that I try to pride ourselves in is agreeing to disagree. We can have different opinions, and we can even get to the point where we're going back and forth. Maybe it's even getting in the realm of arguing, but we're able to stop the conversation and still respect each other as humans and as people. We could say, okay, we clearly disagree on this topic, and it's leading to us getting angry with each other. Why don't we stop talking about it, put it to the side, and talk about something else? We can do that, right? Questions, comments, concerns, put it in the feed. Questions, comments, concerns, put it in the feed. I'm getting interest from a lot of people that are watching this program about some of the topics we have coming up on the rundown. Let's get to $75 million. What will $75 million get you in Charlottesville? So this listing, it's making the rounds again. Judah, can you get that on screen for us? This is the Mount Ida estate listing. It's making the grounds again. This is another Northern Virginia broker who's got the listing now. This is Mount Ida Reserve Tasting and Tap Room, the massive estate that he has there. It's switched brokers to another agent now. Daniel Hyder of Sotheby's in Washington, D.C. now has the listing. It's $75 million. I'm going to tell you what, $75 million asking price, okay? I'm just going to read the copy about the listing, and I'm not going to read all the words because it's a lot. 4,500 acres of land. Are you rotating the photos, Judah? Yeah, thank you. Look at the screen. Judah's showing the photos of this. For those that are watching on Facebook, you get the benefit of the visual. For those that are watching or listening to the podcast, like on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, you guys don't get the benefit of the visual here. So there is the benefit of watching on Facebook. Look at the screen. 4,500 acres along Blenheim Road. Your neighbors are pretty prominent. We're talking Monticello, Ashlawn, Trump, Dave Matthews' Blenheim Vineyards, Grace Vineyards, and Early Mountain Vineyards. So it's the who's who of estates as your neighbors. It's been a 2-decade transformation by the current owners. The current owners put $100 million, they say, into developing this property. This property has, among other things, every amenity possible. Some of the amenities it has, guys, a 12,000 square foot mansion, 12,000 square feet, 2 8-foot stalls, 2 tennis courts, an in-ground pool, a 2-lane go-kart track, a 180-foot water slide, several beaches, not one, but several beaches, a lake house, a 5,000 square foot lake pavilion, 2 floating dock marinas, miles of fencing, ATVs, walking path, bike path, fishing and hunting, a 12,000 square foot lodge. I mean, it's got everything. It's $75 million. We'll put the link in the feed. We'll put this link on I Love CVille in the package. If you want to see what $75 million gets you in this area, here it is. Real estate agents that are watching the show, does this listing have the highest price tag or asking tag of any listing within a 60-mile radius of Charlottesville? I'm going to repeat that. Does this listing, whether it's a pocket listing, an active listing, a listing that's kind of just the wealthy know about and nobody else, does this $75 million listing, the Mount Ida Estate and Reserve property, does it have the highest asking price of any piece of property within a 60-mile radius of Charlottesville? That's what I want to know. That's what I would like to know. I bet you there's got to be like a pocket listing or two that no one knows about except the truly, like the 1% of the 1% that's got a higher price tag than $75 million. We'll see. We'll see. That's how a lot of those trade. A lot of those properties trade. Notre Dame at UVA, Wednesday at 4:30. The game has been moved from 2:30 to 4:30. Virginia's a top 25 basketball team, but it's extremely important to emphasize this. The Virginia men's basketball team has not really played much from a stiff competition standpoint. Okay? Let's just look at the ACC standings, okay? Virginia is 3-0. You heard me correctly. 3-0. Tony Bennett's Cavaliers are in the Atlantic Coast Conference right now. 3-0. But those 3 wins have come against Wake Forest, Notre Dame, and Boston College. Wake Forest, Notre Dame, and Boston College have a combined ACC record of 0-12. So while Virginia is 7-2 overall and 3-0 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, the 3 wins have come against the 3 worst teams in the ACC. And if you look at UVA's schedule, and I'm looking at it right now, who is the best team that they've beaten? They lost to Gonzaga. They lost to San Francisco. Who is the best team UVA's beaten on this schedule? Who is the best team? Do you say the best team is Notre Dame, who's 3-7 and 0-4 in the ACC? Do you say the best team is Wake Forest? Wake Forest is 3-3 overall, 0-3 in the conference. How about Boston College, 2-9 overall, 0-5 in the conference? Who's the best team UVA's beaten on the schedule? Is it Towson? Is it Kent State? Is it William & Mary? Who's the best team they've beaten? They haven't played anybody yet. The team is turning the corner. The team is turning the corner, but they haven't played anybody yet. Right? A couple more items before I talk cheesesteaks. People know I love to eat food. My wife and I, one of our passions is food. One of our hobbies is food. We love to eat food around this area. I want to talk best cheesesteaks in the area. I will let you know what I think is my best cheesesteak and what number 2 is, and number 2 may surprise you. Before we do, Alex Erpy and his father, Xavier, and their family business, Emergent Financial Services, they're going to launch a new show Thursday of this week at 10:15 a.m. right here on the I Love CVille Network. New show. And this new show is going to spotlight the Hispanic community around Charlottesville and Central Virginia. It's going to be 1 hour every week to start and may expand. We're going to have Alex on the I Love CVille show tomorrow to talk about his vision for his new show that will debut on Thursday. The premiere is Thursday at 10:15 a.m. here on the I Love CVille Network. So don't miss that. I'm also in early stage conversation with Lee Elberson of Claiborne Education about an education-based show on this network. A show that basically helps us get through COVID while our kids are learning at home, and helps us as parents and as children figuring out the best efficiencies to manage COVID-19. That's a great idea for a show right there. That is a great idea for a show. And one other item in the notebook, more details to come in February toward the tail end of the month. We are planning the 24-hour telethon. And the 24-hour telethon, our goal is to raise $150,000 here on the I Love CVille Network to buy a piece of property off 10th Street for the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust to build affordable housing to impact this community moving forward positively. More details on that as we bust our ass to make Charlottesville and Central Virginia a better place for everybody right here at I Love CVille. Now, I want to get out of here before I get to your comments, and put your comments in the feed. If you have anything on your mind, please put them in now and I'll relay them on air. Before I do, multiple people have asked me on this program about cheesesteaks. Yes, cheesesteaks. Here's the question I have for you first, and I'm legitimately torn on this. Is there a difference between a cheesesteak and a steak and cheese? Can the monikers steak and cheesesteak be used interchangeably? Is a cheesesteak a certain kind of sandwich with cheese, meat, bread, and vegetables? And is a steak and cheese a different kind of sandwich from a cheesesteak, or are they interchangeable? I don't have that answer. I'm going to use the moniker cheesesteak for the sake of this talk show. I get this question all the time. Where's the best date night spot? What's the best pizza? What's the best burgers? Where can I get the best sandwiches? How about pasta? How about cocktails? Literally, it seems like once a day I get that question, and I don't mind it. I love the question because I love to go out and eat. So does my family. So the topic I want to address today is the best cheesesteaks, steak and cheesesteaks around Charlottesville and Central Virginia. I'm going to do a list, and I want you to put your comments in the feed if I'm missing something. Hello, David Varell in the Outer Banks. Welcome to the program. Johnny Ornalis. Hello. Allison Williams. Welcome to the broadcast. Allison is watching in Miami, Florida. I believe, Allison. I see 5 states watching the program and everyone across Charlottesville and Central Virginia on our heat map. So I think the best cheesesteak in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, and someone tell the boys I'm talking about them, Fabio's on High Street. Fabio's High Street. Mike and Sazo. Someone tell them I'm giving them some props right now. I'd say Fabio's High Street, best cheesesteak in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Correct me if I'm wrong. The number 2 slot may surprise you. Have you had the cheesesteak? And Judah, I want your opinion on the best cheesesteaks in the area. You like to eat too. So you give me some answers on your favorite cheesesteaks here in a matter of moments. Number 2, I'm going to go with the steak and cheese at Riverside Lunch on High Street. You're going to be like, it's a burger joint, Jerry. They make flat out the best burgers in town, not steak and cheese. Have you had the steak and cheese or the cheesesteak at Riverside on High Street? Have you? It's damn good. And if you have not had the fried cheese balls at Riverside, you're missing out on a true delicatessen. Fried cheese balls at Riverside. Order them the next time you're there. Get them today. They are so good. I'll say Riverside is my second best cheesesteak in Charlottesville and in Central Virginia. And Judah, I'm going to go to you. Do you have a pick or a vote for best cheesesteaks in the area and the microphone with the audio on over there, Judah Wickhauer?
I'd probably say Fabio's. I think that's probably the only one that I've had around here.
All right, so your pick is my pick for number 1? All right, so he's got Fabio's as best cheesesteak. Really? You have not had another cheesesteak in this area?
Not that I can think of.
I miss the McGrady's cheesesteaks. Anybody remember when McGrady's was doing $5 cheesesteaks on Saturdays during game day? They had 3 or 4 different kinds you could choose from. Who misses the McGrady's cheesesteaks? Have you had the cheesesteak at Dr. Ho's Humble Pie? I certainly have. In fact, Dr. Ho's Humble Pie is 3 for me for the best cheesesteaks in Charlottesville. Number 4, I have a $75 gift card over there to this place, thanks to the owner of the business who's a friend at the show, Wilson Ritchie. Revolutionary Soup has the 4th best cheesesteak in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. They're 4 for me. And then rounding out the top 5 is very tough. You can't talk cheesesteaks in Charlottesville and Central Virginia without talking Little John's, without talking the cheesesteak from Belmont Pizza, without talking the cheesesteak from Miller's downtown, the cheesesteak from Timberwood Grill and Timberwood Tap House, the cheesesteak from Martin's Grill, and yes, my friend, the cheesesteak from Tubby's, also on High Street. Rounding out my top 5, the best cheesesteaks in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, I'm going to put Tubby's in the 5 slot. Boys and girls, that means in my top 5, Fabio's is 1, High Street, Riverside Lunch, 2, High Street, Dr. Ho's, Nelson County, North Garden, Rev Soup on the Downtown Mall, and Tubby's, High Street, 5. There's an epicenter of delicious cheesesteaks on High Street in the city of Charlottesville with Fabio's, Riverside, and Tubby's. And I'm pretty sure Zanice at Jack and Jill's makes a cheesesteak as well. Does Zenise at Jack and Jill's make a cheesesteak? Did I ever tell you my Zenise and Jack and Jill's story? Did I ever tell you that? The first piece, I'll tell you this story and then I'm going to get the hell out of here because I got a conference call at 1:45. The first piece of commercial real estate that I ever purchased. Actually, that deal didn't go through. I was this close to purchasing the first piece of commercial real estate that I ever bought in my life at Jack and Jill's after hours. We have 27 tenants, close to 20,000 square feet of rental property around Charlottesville and Albemarle County. The first deal I ever did was the old Salad Creations spot. Salad Creations is over there next to Commonwealth Sky Bar, kind of across from Willow Tree. Salad Creations is not there anymore, but it's that kind of like little storefront in the professional center right off the downtown mall, kind of behind the Melting Pot, okay? Kind of across from where Willow Tree used to be, kind of across Commonwealth Sky Bar's side entrance. There was a storefront there that housed a salad bar concept called Salad Creations, okay? So I'll tell you the history behind this piece of property very quickly. Bill Nichman, he's my mentor, great friend. Bill Nichman is a developer, owns a ton of commercial real estate, owns a block in the city of Charlottesville right next to Bodo's, literally a block of land, like a city block he owns. He owns the professional center on the downtown mall. And when my business was rising and up and coming, we were renting in South Street, above South Street Brewery, our office space. We quickly ran out of space there because we were growing so fast. So I took the business from above South Street Brewery to the professional center. It's the brick building on the downtown mall. On the bottom floor of the professional center is United Bank. It's the building right next to Commonwealth Sky Bar. But then you have Fifth Street kind of separating one side from the other side. So I'm in the professional center after moving I Love CVille and VMV brands from above South Street Brewery to Bill Nichman's building. Fortunate for me, my neighbor in the professional center was Bill, who owned the building. For 18 months, pesky Jerry Miller, annoying Jerry Miller for 18 months, was sitting in Bill Nichman's office like a sponge, absorbing everything this man has done in his entire life, from selling businesses to selling hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate. We still go out for coffee, lunch, see each other all the time. 18 months. The whole reason behind us creating this executive office business model where we rent offices to businesses, and the offices I rent include Ting Fiber Internet, I pay all the electric bill for the tenants, and I furnish the office for the tenants as well. So a business that is 1, 2, 3, 4 people can literally come into my building and turnkey have an office ready to go. Internet's good to go, electric's good to go, furniture's already there. They just have to worry about making money. This entire concept I learned from Bill. Entire concept I learned from Bill. Here we are in the Macklin building, 13 years of being self-employed in May. Every month that goes by, the debt service gets eroded, and a lot of gratitude goes to a gentleman by the name of Bill Nichman. The first piece of property I ever bought or tried to buy, Bill Nichman took that Salad Creation spot and he sold it to Zenise and Zenise's daughter. They own Jack and Jill's on High Street. I think Zenise lives in Glenmore. Drives a beautiful white two-door Mercedes-Benz, and it says Zenise on his license plate. Zenise doesn't speak great English, and his daughter was home with her kids. So Zenise said, Jerry, come to Jack and Jill's around 10 p.m., and we'll negotiate the purchase of this piece of property, this commercial property for you. So I get to Jack and Jill's at about 9:45. When I walk in, I see an older gentleman. His tie was at half mask. It was not all the way up. He had a blue blazer with gold buttons on and a white Oxford shirt, but he looked disheveled. and he had a mustard stain on his shirt, and his blue blazer with gold buttons just looked old and ratty. He's sitting across from me in one of the booths at Jack and Jill. I'm like 27 years old. Zanice is on the same side of this guy with the blue blazer and the gold buttons and the mustard stain. You know who that guy was? Dr. Charles Hurt of Virginia Land Company. I'm 27 years old, sitting in the back of Jack and Jill's as the restaurant's closed. Across from me at the booth was Zanice, who owns what? The Milan on 29, and that piece of property. That's a major piece of property. He owns property everywhere. And then Dr. Charles Hurt, who opposite Wendell Wood is probably the largest landowner in Albemarle County. You know, Dr. Charles Hurt told me, you cannot enter Albemarle County or leave Albemarle County without seeing a property that I own. Literally told me that. Now, he's had some tougher times of late from a leverage standpoint. But here I'm in, got six hairs on my chin. I mean, granted, I'm older than that. You see what I'm saying? And I'm negotiating it. What's the Greek? I always forget the name of this. What's the Greek liquor? What's the liquor that a lot of Greek folks drink that like to, you know what I'm talking about, Judah? Ouzo. I always forget the name of that liquor. We're in the back of Jack and Jill's after hours. Zanice is smoking a European cigarette. I could barely breathe. It's freaking smoky as all get out in here. Dr. Charles Hurt is sitting across from me wearing a blue blazer with gold buttons and a yellow mustard stain on his shirt. And we're passing a napkin back and forth, negotiating a deal in $5,000 increments, scratching out a number, writing a new number behind it, and passing it back and forth to each other. Finally, we negotiated a deal. Zanice comes back with some ouzo, pours them in plastic cups, and we celebrate. The next day, Zanice's daughter got involved and kiboshed the deal, but for 12 hours, we had a deal in place. Me, Zanice, and Dr. Charles Hurt in the back of Jack and Jill's, and I'm smoking European cigarettes while drinking ouzo with men that were twice my age. That is a true freaking story. That is a true story. May God strike me down now if there's any hyperbolization going on there. A true story. All right, I got to get out of here. I got to make some money. My name is Jerry. It's the I Love CVille Show. He's Judah Wickhauer. Tomorrow, Alex Erpy's going to join us to spotlight the new show that's going to be just a champion for Hispanic community Thursday at 10:15 on this network. Thank you for joining us, guys. You guys have a good one. You've only had a cheesesteak at Fabio's?
It's the only one I can think of. Really?